This is Autoline This Week, the show that gets you inside the global automotive industry. Underwriting for the production of Autoline This Week has been provided by RSM.
Prepare for challenges specific to your business by working with trusted advisors who help turn obstacles into opportunities. Experience the power of being understood. RSM, Audit, Tax, and Consulting for the Middle Market.
And now, here's your host, Jon McElroy.
I want to thank you all for joining us on Autoline This Week. Today we're going to be talking about Acura, Honda's luxury brand. And the reason we're getting into that is our special guest is Jon Ikeda, the vice president who runs the Acura brand. Great to have you on the show here today, Jon.
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, one thing correction there. We are the performance division of Honda. So
okay, we're going to get into that then. All right.
We're going to get right into it.
Okay. Also joining us on today's show are Gary Vasilash, the editor of Automotive Design and Production magazine, and Omari Gardner with Automotive News. And great to have the both of you guys here.
Thanks, Jon.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, what is the Acura brand? And I ask you that, Jon, because it seems to me it's gone through several phases. And if somebody said, what does BMW stand for, or Mercedes, or the like, I can pretty much tell you what their mission statement is. What's Acura about?
So, I mean, when we started this brand back in the 80s, and this is a brand that I aspired to coming out of school as a designer back in 89. It's a while back, but it was a performance-based brand, and it was inked out as the performance division of Honda. So if you wanted premium vehicles, obviously performance vehicles cost a little bit more to make, and so Honda back then decided to launch this franchise. And yes, we've had some wanderings a bit, but we're 30 years old now, and 30 plus now, but 30 years old now. We think we know who we are a little bit better at 30. And we've kind of refocused ourselves as that performance direction that we started out with.
So what does performance mean to you?
To me, it's, from a car context, it's something that puts a grin on your face, like from the dynamics of the vehicle. I mean, of course, I'm a designer, ex-designer. Right now, I'm on sales now, but as an ex-designer, obviously the way that car looks is important. Obviously, you could, put that performance feel over there, but the other senses also, the way a car sounds or feels, all of those things contribute to performance, and it's something that I think is very vital for a brand that aspires to be performance focused, that it allows that experience to happen. Yeah.
You mentioned you're a designer, which is very unusual for someone in your position. How did this come to be?
I think, to be very honest, maybe I complain too much about the marketing, maybe. But no, I mean, it's, I think, 26 years of the 30 years I was at Honda as a design guy. We make cars, and it's kind of a investment of your time of 5 years, maybe raising a child, if you will. Any designer would tell you, or anybody that's focused on making a product, they'll tell you it's like raising a child, and making sure that it's being sold or marketed the way you want it to be. It becomes kind of a passion and a personal thing. And if you have some mix match right there, usually you're going to have the parents start to voice their opinion. Probably raising an opinion too much. They say, you think it's that simple? Maybe we could do a little revamping on the brand anyway, so why don't you come on over? And so that's just kind of how it all came together. I've been very passionate about it, and I've been given a task to do, so I'm very honored to take a stab at it. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like Acura has a story to tell to consumers, so how are you going to convey that messaging to the public?
Yeah, one of the first things that we did was, once we turned 30, is right about when I came on, we refocused ourselves into precision crafted performance. That's the, ground zero of how we started. NSX also was relaunched because we felt like as a performance brand, you have to set your foot in the right direction. But being an enthusiast like me, we can't just have a supercar. You got to go race these things. And so we got involved with motor racing very quickly, early on, which we're very happy about. It's after the second year with Roger Penske, things are looking better for DPI and IMSA right now, as well as Mike Shank and his team with the GT3. All of our racing's efforts are starting to pay off a little bit, and I think it's going to have more impact for people that are enthusiasts that are looking for a performance brand.
I want to get into more of those cars in a minute, but let's look at what you got in the showroom right now. Essentially, there's 5 cars. You mentioned 5 vehicles. You mentioned the NSX, the Halo, uber high performance. Then you have 2 sports sedans and 2 crossovers. That's your bread and butter right now, 4 vehicles. What else do you need in the lineup? I gotta believe you need to expand the line.
Yeah, I get this question from the dealers all the time. I will tell you, first thing for us as we rebuild this thing and reestablish ourselves is we were focused on rebuilding the 4 core models. TLX, ILX, 2 sedans, 2 trucks. Obviously, our trucks are doing good. The segment in sedans is a little shaky right now, but at the same time, if you're going to be a true brand in the premium market, you have to have a balanced portfolio. So first, we're going to focus on these, and we're betting our money, like we did with the RDX, that we could have a segment-leading product that's strong. It's given us a lot more confidence, as well as the dealers, as well as the guys in R&D, that the direction we've chosen to go is the right direction to fill out the rest of the lineup, if you will. And beyond that, obviously, first we got to build the foundation nice and solid and get everything squared away. Beyond that, yeah, we're open to seeing what else we could add to the market. Yeah.
Well, to John's point, if we look at sales, RDX and MDX individually have outsold all of your cars this year. So as a designer, you're looking at this and saying, okay, I need to come up with something that perhaps is different, that'll set Acura apart from, everyone is chasing the crossover SUV thing right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting time. Never, while I was still designing, did I ever think that it would break the 50-50 spot, where there'll be more trucks than cars in a premium brand. But we are where we are right now. We don't know what the market's going to be like. We don't know what gas prices will be like. Those are topics of interest right now with all the things that are happening right now. But I think, for us right now, we're focused on, one is performance, that whatever we put on, that we create sport variants of these things to let everybody know who we are exactly and what we're selling here. And if we do trucks or sedans, that they're going to get a performance version, a very high performance version of the vehicle that we could create. And yeah, going into, is it this crossover, that crossover, in between? I think everybody's trying to slice everything in between. But right now, what Acura's focused on is establishing those 4 cars and doing it correctly. And then we could talk about in-betweens. We've had cars like the ZDX in the past, maybe a little ahead of its time a little bit. We talked about that earlier at another meeting. But yeah, that car, believe it or not, we were in the design studio, and we were making, a performance brand vehicle in our mind at Acura. But we were starting to lose all of our Type S's, and the NSX had gone away, and the coupes aren't selling, so the coupes are going away. And so what are we going to do from a sporty direction that we could still work on, and where everybody was, absolutely focused on trucks only. So then we said, well, we'll make a coupe truck, That's what we'll do, make something unique that some client could see in our portfolio of things, or in a dealership, to make us look a little interesting. So that's what that was about, but maybe we need to revamp that out. Those are things we got to look at.
Something pretty interesting that, Monterey Car Week, the Type S was applied to a car instead of a crossover. So what was the thinking behind that?
I think, we've been to Pebble Beach for a while now, and we knew we were going to launch NSX, so we started to have some presence there. We've been talking about the NSX. We've been talking about the racing. So we've set the feel there, the story there at Pebble Beach, car enthusiasts that we're here. But I think bringing that sedan in, which is very close to potential product that we're thinking for the future here, with the Type S. It kind of brought in the whole picture a little bit closer, like, hey, this isn't just about an NSX and racing. There's going to be cars with this brand, and there's going to be sports variants with this brand. So who knows what we'll bring next to Pebble Beach, but because Pebble Beach has become a monster in itself. I mean, it is like an auto show by far now. And so it's a great place to let people know what we're up to. And with the sedan, we just felt that it was the right balance for the next telling of the story of the Type S, I guess, in its purest form. Yeah.
John, the NSX is the halo car of the brand. It's probably the first exotic hybrid that hit production. Sales haven't been that great. Well, why not? I mean, to me, it's a pretty good car, and I know it was always meant to be a low volume car, but I think the volume's lower than what you guys expected.
Well, I don't think it's lower than what we expected. I mean, it's cracking in or getting back into the performance business. It's not, just because we show up with an NSX and it's shiny colors, enthusiasts are enthusiasts. They're finicky people, and they want to know if this is what it's worth, And I think the winning, that's another reason we did the Motorsports thing right away, right out of the box. We didn't wait. Is to let everybody know, that 80% of that NSX is in that GT3 race car, 80%. So it is its worth, and it's performing well. And the sales have gone, we're up to about 20 plus cars a month now, and things are steadily growing.
You're up way over last year.
Yeah, way up over last year. But in all honesty, I mean, for Acura to reestablish itself as a performance player, there's nothing like the NSX. Without NSX, I don't care, we were selling one a year. I mean, without it, there is no Acura for us, and it's that kind of a powerful name as well as a product, and it is innovative, and it is unique. And I mean, that story forever. I mean, when we were talking about reviving the NSX, and we were all very, very ecstatic about it. Once again, I'm still on the R&D side, but when the big boss tells you it's going to be a hybrid, everybody's jaw drops. It's like, what happened? Lightweight, high performance. How are we going to do this? And we got our heads around it. And I think even internally, when we first started developing the car, we had to get our heads around it. But as we developed, we understood better what you could gain from electrification and the interesting things you could do with motors and programming and things like that you couldn't do mechanically. And so, it's a very interesting vehicle. Other brands are starting to look at what we've done, and I've seen a latest version of a very special brand that's got pretty much the same layout as ours. So it's that's a great thing. That's a great thing for the brand, and the NSX is. Without it, I just don't know where we would be without the NSX.
One of the interesting things you did for the NSX is basically build a specific factory for it, the Performance Manufacturing Center in Marysville. And to the point of broadening this performance portfolio, you've begun to build TLXs there? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so, I call the Performance Manufacturing Center the dream factory, really, because, before, if you're working on a car, it's got to come down the same line, and you wanted to do, I want to do a lime green car. You're not going to do a lime green car. That's under 0.2% of sales or whatever, and all the numbers will come down. But what PMC has done for us is it's allowed us to have a place where we could do special things if we wanted to do these things, right? And so TLX and the color is the first thing that we're doing, but who's to say, if we don't get together with a racing team or HPD or something and work out something. But it allows us to have these types of discussions. And these are things that we couldn't have before. I just love the fact that we built it for an NSX, but now we can use it for many other things, but it comes from the NSX factory. It's exciting. We plan to leverage that.
Who's the person that you have in mind to go into a Acura store?
Who is the person?
Yeah.
Well, to tell you the truth, we try to approach, the way we look at sales a little bit differently. Meaning, I've been told all my life, premium or luxury business is very exclusive. It's an exclusive business. How can we be inclusive? One of the things we want it to be for Acura is that yes, you're buying premium equipment, premium, exciting, products, but it shouldn't be hard for anybody, right? If you like performance vehicles, and if you should be able to step into stores and be able to enjoy what we have to offer. One of the key things we did was with the auto show kit. We still had the old set when I first came in, but there was some traditional thinking behind it, and it was kind of moody and dark. And if you look down, luxury row at an auto show, it's pretty dark and mood feeling. There's a lot of some mood things happening there, but we just flipped it. We said, hey, turn on the lights. Let's make it bright. Let's show everybody what's here under the table. Between the cracks, there's nothing to hide here. We got a lot of exciting products. We brought more color back in. Anybody that's feeling that, that's their kind of a cup of tea is who we're after. We talked a little bit earlier, Omari, but when we're building this brand, I always feel that brand building is it's a relationship between the client and the factory, right? It's, who do you respect? Who do you want to hang out with? And we all have people in our mind of who we respect and things like that. But that kind of relationship doesn't happen overnight. Okay, but we feel that we're very straight and narrow, and we tell the kind of products we make, to the way we sell it, and the way we work with our partners, a dealership franchise, and consistency is across the board there. Then there's about 200,000 friends out there in America, I'm sure, that would love to hang out with us. I don't look at the numbers so much as how many cars we got to sell. I'm always talking about it with our friends. Let's go find our 200,000 friends. They're out there. They're out there. You can see that they're out there because you're enthusiasts that are still man in the light for the NSX Club, or the Legend Club, or the Type R Integra Club guys. They've been doing this for a while. And I remember going to NSX Club of America, and after the new car came in, I just thanked everybody for keeping the lights on, because we're back. We're back, and we're going to push performance, and we're going to be very, very clear about what we're about. Hopefully people can see us for that, yeah.
I was sort of wondering, the Germans are widely embedded in this whole performance area. So what's your definition of a performance? I mean, does somebody who's going to be shopping for a vehicle, presumably the Acura approach to performance is different than the German approach, and what would that be?
I think one of the key things that I, characteristically speaking, it's a lot more lightweight feel about the way we want to go approach, and that's very dynamic oriented. So that's me, the R&D guy talking. But yeah, the approachable nature, all of these things, I'm not saying that the Germans aren't. Just, one thing about what Germans do, I'm not going to focus too much on that as much as what are we. That's what we need to be focused on more than anything else. I could tell you, when I joined the company, I spent the first 6 years in Japan because I had to find out who was making these crazy cars, the NSXs and the Integras, and who makes VTEC engines. I had to find out, and I spent the first 6 years of my career in Japan, but not a whole lot of benchmarking going on back then. It was, what do we want to do? Let's make something cool. This is what we have. We could do this. We could do that, and we did. And I think what's very important is that we stay true to who we are and stay focused on the kind of things, the filters that Honda has and Acura has to put all these pieces into always makes our cars ours. Mm-hmm. We need to stay focused on that. And it's been different. It's been different. An Integra is different from a 2002 or 3 Series. It's a different feel. And yet, both companies are chasing performance. We decided to make a supercar this time. It turned out to be a hybrid. I don't know if everybody else would have done that, but it just different. I don't think we need to really worry too much about other brands as much as staying focused on what we feel we need to do, and in that you'll find more uniqueness and some point of reference for your client to say, hey, these guys are about this, mm-hmm. and that's what we're focused on more than anything else, I think.
It's not necessarily trying to break lap records on the ring, right?
No. Yeah, we talked about that. It's one thing for sure. Breaking lap records, you're paying somebody an awful lot of money.
Yeah.
But and then what does that really mean for that individual that's purchased a vehicle that's actually driving? So a lot of our dynamics guys that set the table for how the car feels and whatnot is, hey, it feels right to us. Okay, that means somebody's going to drive this and enjoy it. That'll be the first. That's the first thing, and the most important thing is that somebody could enjoy, and maybe that's a little difference in reference, but yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, it's not just about a lap time. Yeah.
Jon, this industry is getting into electric cars, partly by mandate, partly maybe, at least in the case of Tesla, through market demand. Is Acura going to play any role in Honda's electric car effort?
Oh yeah, well, absolutely. You know, electrification is coming. There's no way of getting around it. And right now we have the RLX, the MDX, and
Well, those
the
are
NSX.
electrified. I'm talking about pure battery electric.
Pure battery electric. Well, those are things that are being put together by the R&D folks.
I know you can't talk about future product. All I'm just asking is a generic question. Is Acura going to play a role
absolutely,
in
absolutely, absolutely. At some point in the future, we will be electrified, and we'll come out with something. You know, one thing for sure though, the questions that I always have for the guys that are putting it together: what does the Type S of the electrified vehicle look like, and how are we going to race these things?
Yeah, and maybe you will get to a Nürburgring lap record at that point. Yeah. Electric cars, of course, don't need tune-ups, don't need oil changes. How's this going to impact your dealers? How are you going to deal with this? Because as you know, the back shop, you know, service and repair is where they make most of their money right now, and this could impact them dramatically from a survivability standpoint.
Yeah, I think the key word here is partnership, and trying to figure out what's best going forward. We spend a lot of time with our dealers through committees and whatnot, but this is a subject that comes up constantly, and we need to work through how we work through this innovative world and navigate what's out there so that we could be both profitable and figure out the best route possible for this. Obviously, the physics are there, and you just mentioned them. But maybe there's opportunities in other areas that we need to be looking at also.
Can you give us a for instance in that regard?
No, I won't be able to jump into that.
What are you doing with your retailers to expand their business? You know, certified pre-owned has been big. It seems like you guys are only just starting to catch up in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, because of the leasing thing, and you know, the certified pre-owned business is there for a lot of the premium markets that are there. Right now, for us, we'll focus on new cars. We've had some cars that we've, you know, held on to a little bit longer than I like, and that's being honest. And I'm sure the dealers would agree with me on that. Let's get new car business back on the road, and that's what we're really focused at Acura currently. That's what we're really focused on is, hey, let's get new product out there. Let's get the marketing right. Let's get everybody's behavior right, so we're pointing the brand in the right direction, so that people who look at our brand, whether they're looking at our ads or at the racetrack or whatever, they know what we're about, and they feel comfortable coming into our store. So that's the key thing right now in terms of rebuilding a strong foundation, if you want, from a business perspective.
So a better product cadence going forward?
That is the absolute wish on my part, all right? I mean, I can't control all of those things, but yes, I mean, there's some cars that have been a little bit longer than we'd like, but in the meantime, we've reset the table. We've done some good things with our minor model changes also, and not waiting until the new car comes out. RDX obviously represents the next generation of our vehicles that are coming. We mentioned that earlier, but it's doing very, very well for us. So we feel pretty bullish.
That was pretty much a reboot of that vehicle. That did it surprise you how well it's doing in the market?
Well, let me just say, I've known what it looked like and what the car was going to bring before most of the sales guys, because I was part of the program that put it together. You can always test how well it's going to be depending on if the designers and the people that are working on it are very focused on it and up on it. Okay, so you got good parents, you got good kids, and you're 3 years into a program, and everybody just keeps talking about, I can't wait till, I can't wait till, I can't wait till, something magic is about to happen. And that was one of those cars where it was going through the cycle of things. And usually at some point, because of some cost cutting or regulation or something starts to look different or weird, or I don't get the wheels that I wanted, or you get many things in development. But with that car, you just knew they were getting past all of those issues, and so I'm not really surprised that it's doing well. It's the first test is the parents.
I shared this story this morning. I drove the RDX a couple of weeks ago, had it for a weekend, happened to be a weekend that I happened to be moving, and one of the movers saw it and said, "Oh man, what kind of truck is that?" And he peered inside and he said, "Wow, that's really nice." And it was just kind of interesting to see, out in the field, a real world reaction to a vehicle that a potential consumer had never seen before.
Yeah, it's always good. I mean, I have an A-Spec RDX that I drive, and it hasn't happened in a while for Acura, where you got another guy in an A-Spec RDX give you a thumbs up at a light or something. That's always a good sign. It makes you feel good. I tell this story to all the guys that were on the team making it, because that's what it is. At the end of the day, you're making these things for people to enjoy, and when you see that kind of stuff, it's always good. Yeah, it's good to see.
Jon, I need about a 30-second answer on this because we're down to the very end. Motor racing, you're into it. IMSA Sports Cars. As we tape this, you're leading the DPI Championship. Does it pay off in sales?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I really feel that more people are keen on what's happening. Obviously, we've taken over the Long Beach Grand Prix also with full sponsorship, and so we're going all in on motorsports. It's something that we really feel that is necessary to do. If you want to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. And whether it's the NSX or the Type S, performance derivative, racing, and your support for racing, I think everybody needs to understand that Acura is behind all of this in full, so that we're not trying to cheat our way into some performance business here. We're for real. We really want to push this to the next level.
Real good. With that, we're wrapping it up. Jon Ikeda from Acura, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Gary Vasilash, Omari Gardner, thank you guys too.
Thank you.
Underwriting for the production of Autoline this week has been provided by RSM.
Prepare for challenges specific to your business by working with trusted advisors who help turn obstacles into opportunities. Experience the power of being understood. RSM, Audit, Tax and Consulting for the Middle Market.